Hey guys, my name is Beck and welcome to my channel Soul Journey. Today we're going to be talking about dreams, astral travel, and alien abduction. If you like this video, please give it a like and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Or if you would like to check out my other social media, the links to that are in the description down below. Also down in the description is my Etsy shop, which has crystal jewelry, clothing, and personal tarot readings if you would like to purchase one of those. Also, I have my GoFundMe if you would like to support my projects and my current content that I'm putting out. That is also down in the description. Alright, so let's off to the video. Alright, so today's a bit of a storytelling day. I like to bring you guys new experiences I'm having and also like researching and studying, so I thought I would share this with you guys because I thought you might find it interesting. And I'm also wondering if you've also had experiences like this before. I do know from my own personal connection with other people and things like that, I feel like this is something I've heard that is common among starseeds and things like that, but I wanted to share my personal experience in case you haven't heard anything about it, so you know that maybe you're not crazy or you've had this experience. Also, please comment down below if this sounds familiar to you and if you have any other insights yourself, because I'm very interested, and this is kind of the first time I've kind of had something like this happen, so I just wanted to put it out there and see what you guys think. Alright, so as a lot of you know, when you dream, you are actually astro traveling. And you're experiencing higher dimensional experiences, and then when it comes back in, when you wake up, when it comes back into your brain and your brain's trying to process through it, that's why dreams feel so weird, because your brain is trying to recognize where you've been all night, so to speak. It's a great way to process what's going on in your three-dimensional life, and it's kind of a preview of what you're creating. It's also a really great way to see what is going on a subconscious level. But a lot of times we can actually have experiences where we're on different planets, different dimensions, and things like that. And that is essentially our spirit doing other things while we're asleep, while our body is resting. It's also helping us process through any interdimensional things we're going through. So sometimes it feels a little more like it is just an imagination, but other times, and I've found that more recently this is the case, I'll have a dream and it really feels like when I wake up that I've been somewhere else, and it does have a very different feeling to it. I used to kind of put this aside, but now that I've researched a lot more of this and I've had more of these experiences, I do take it rather seriously. So anyway, last night I fell asleep on the couch and I woke up around 2 o'clock in the morning and I was feeling very shaken. Like, I would say probably about like 10-20% of my dreams I will feel like I've been somewhere else. And so I just had this really interesting dream. It was a very short dream, and the dream took place in two different parts. So the first part was I was at one of my old houses where I used to live, and a friend of mine, actually you guys know her, Manali, in the dream contacted me, and the way it felt was like I was watching a video. And she was in the backyard of this old house, which used to be which is a farmhouse, and it's really beautiful. It's out like kind of in the country. And she looks up at the sky in what I'm perceiving as kind of like a video she's sending me, but it was also like I was there as well, where there are these flying saucers type, not quite saucers, it was just more like circular lights in the sky. It was definitely UFO. There was like no way it could be anything else. And they were kind of moving around, and I remember thinking like, oh my god, like we're seeing a real UFO. That's really intense, because I've actually never seen one in like real life. I've had a lot of extraterrestrial contact telepathically and psychically and through channels, but not directly like seeing one in the third dimensional realm. So it was really intense. So in the dream, it then kind of shifted, and there was these kind of like ships, like kind of small ships flying through like the yard. To like kind of give you an idea, it was kind of like if you imagine, I know this is really random, but in, I believe, the third Star Wars movie, yeah, with the Ewoks, do you remember the ships that the stormtroopers were riding on in like the forest? They kind of looked like that, but there was like no people on them. It was just these like small ships going by. And then the dream shifted, and I didn't really have a good perception of like where I was specifically or who I was exactly, because it seemed to kind of shift as I was there. Because I feel like when I was first there, I had the perception that I was me, but then later on in the dream I was like, oh, I feel like I'm perceiving from another space. So essentially I was, as you know, his dreams aren't like super solid, so I'm just kind of giving you an idea of what I saw. So I was perceiving this holographic world. Like, I wasn't in it, I was observing it, and it was almost like I was looking down at like a table or a screen or something like that, and there were these like holograms like walking around, and they look kind of like a cartoon computer generated kind of animation. And I was acutely aware of the idea of that these were beings, like these were beings having an experience, but it was very much like a simulation. And they were like, there was little cars and there was little like people, but I had this like, my first perception was that it was different beings. Like, I didn't know who they were like specifically, like it wasn't Earth or whatever, but like I was perceiving it as like a different race of beings, but they looked like humans. And I was just kind of observing them, and I remember thinking like, oh, there's this idea of the ego, and they have this idea of separateness, and they have these little stories. And I remember thinking it was kind of like a funny idea, like, what a weird perception. Like, it was very like for really good reason, but I remember thinking like, oh, that's odd. And then it dawned on me that I was looking at Earth. Like, I was looking at the simulation going on planet Earth, and it like hit me like a ton of bricks. And I realized that like this is what Earth is. Like, it's a simulation, it's an illusion, and it is just literally like a hologram. But then I also had the feeling of that for the beings there, it was very real. Like, it was very, very real. And it was just this really interesting, like, perception of, like, what's going on the planet. And the other thing was, it was kind of this kind of, like I said, it seemed kind of, I don't want to say ridiculous, because, like, there was an obvious reason for it. But it seemed kind of like a misconception. Like, they were all walking around in this like daze or this dream, and they had no idea that it was fake. And it seemed like a really weird concept. And that was it. That was the whole dream. And I woke up, and this was the weird part. I woke up and I very much felt like I'd been somewhere else. Like, I'd really experienced something else. And then for like 10-15 minutes, I felt very much like, and this is all intuitive, it was all just a feeling, but it was either like the feeling of that, I don't know if you guys have this feeling ever, you'll walk around your house at night or something and it feels like aliens are really close, or like there's going to be an abduction, or like there's something around that's like really intense going on. I'll often have this feeling occasionally, and it will last like, a few minutes or an hour or two, and it kind of like weirds me out, kind of a little creepy, because the beings I usually feel are around don't feel familiar to me, and they feel like they're more doing like studying or research, and like they're not like my higher guides, like they're just like other beings. And it's not like they're super like good. Like, I don't feel like there's like, I'm not feeling like 100% like safe around them. So I woke up and I had that feeling of like I might, like something might happen, and it was kind of creeping me out. But then it kind of dawned on me, I was like, I wonder if I was feeling like maybe I, because abduction can go a few different ways. Like, they can take your body, or sometimes they'll like take you up to a ship, like just your consciousness. I feel like that's like something I've heard happens. And like, I kind of got the idea that maybe that's what happened, like when I was dreaming, or like sleeping rather. And in the dream, I didn't feel super creeped out. Like, it wasn't like in this space, I didn't feel unsafe. In fact, I felt like a part of the ship. Like, I felt like I was there for a really good reason. And even like when I was looking up the ships with Manali, I remember that being like, whoa, that's really intense, and not being a super sure. But like this other perception of like looking down at this hologram like felt really comfortable. So I'm wondering if me coming back, which I'm feeling like that's what happened, because my brain was then processing what happened, like my brain got creeped out, or like my ego got creeped out, because it like couldn't really like figure out what was going on, and because my perception of like, abduction or things like that has like, kind of freaks me out a little bit. Even though like on some level, like it doesn't, like I know there's a lot of like beings that are like really kind of shady and they do, abduct people, and that kind of is like a little bit of like, oh, that doesn't sound fun. But I know there's a lot of really amazing beings, and I connect with a lot of them. So I'm feeling like any experience I would have, like I trust that my guides would protect me, and that I would only be there in a safe, loving space. So I feel like maybe it was my brain that was kind of like, oh my God, what just happened? And was trying to like sort that out. And I had that kind of feeling, that energy around me. And so like, I did kind of feel uncomfortable, but that's only because I didn't really know what was going on. back when I was placed in the third dimensional world. And it's kind of weird, like, today I've been, like, walking around kind of, like, with this perception of, like, which I do a lot, but after seeing that kind of, like, visual representation of it, I feel like everything's kind of fake. It's a really weird feeling, kind of like the Matrix almost. So yeah, it was just a really weird experience, and, like, kind of a cool experience too. Like, I feel like I love when I have a dream and I have, like, a new realization or something comes to me. I'm like, oh, I don't feel like I thought of that. Or same thing with channeling or things like that. It's just kind of a really interesting experience when you have an experience that you could say is in your mind, but then you come to these conclusions that you, like, never would have thought of. So even though I know, like, reality is a hologram, like, seeing it like that made it, like, really clear. And that was really cool. So please comment down below if you guys have had any similar experiences to this. Like, from what I've researched, like, I feel like this isn't super uncommon, but I wanted to put it out there and see what you guys think and just get your feedback on it. It was a really cool experience. It was a little, like I said, a little, like, jostling, but, like, it was a really, really cool thing. So anyway, that's my story. If you have any questions, please comment them down below. Again, if you like this video, please give it a like or a share, and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I make videos all the time. So hope you all have a wonderful day. Many, many blessings. Enjoy the day. Namaste, and don't forget, it's all about the soul journey.